What's up guys, Steve here and welcome to my page. If you are returning, thanks for coming back. If you are new, welcome, and I hope you get some value for your Turo fleet. Alright, so we're gonna go back to the basics. You know, everything's weird. The housing market's going down, the car market's going down, everything's just getting flipped upside down, right? It's not the market that we started off in, or it might be the market you started off in, but it's not the market that we're used to. So everybody's kind of holding on to their money, holding on to everything they got just to see what happens. So what does that mean for starting a fleet with Turo? You know, and right now, it shouldn't affect you too much. You just gotta be a little bit more strategic with how you go about things. So this video is all about how to do that for you. So a little bit about my past. We've had about 50 cars in California. And then now that I'm out here in Arizona, I had my 6 cars. That's where you saw me originally start all this stuff with. I was showing you all the incomes, this and that. It's been a minute since I have posted. I haven't gone anywhere, still got my cars, or at least some of them. You know, I got rid of some of them that I had some pretty good equity in, which is weird to say equity in a car, but I had some in some of my cars, so I flipped those things. And I still have a few cars that I am actually still running on the platform. Now, I am back to working more of a full-time gig, and that's why these videos have been kind of, you know, held back a little bit. That's my mistake, but this is what we got going on. I have a guy that's actually running my cars up in Phoenix. It's great. It's helping out both of us. If you guys are ever interested in co-hosting or anything like that, by all means drop a comment and we'll reach out to you, see what we can do to make it, you know, work out for you. But regardless, that's a little bit about me. Let's get back into, if you were starting off today, I want you to go through Turo, check out your market, check out the area you're in, see if it's actually worth it, see if there's cars in your area. This post-COVID market is basically back to what it was before COVID, where you're kind of having to be a little bit more strategic with what you're buying. You don't have all these stimulus rich people that are just going out and renting cars just for the heck of it. So you got to be a little bit more strategic. If you see a whole grip load of Teslas or a grip of Jeeps or anything like that, you probably want to stay away from those. So kind of check your market, see what's actually renting, check for, you know, a couple days out, this weekend, next week, next month, 6 months from now, see how many cars there actually are on the platform. And kind of see the rate that these cars are actually going out. You can check this numerous ways, but biggest thing, check your market, see if it's even feasible for you to do this. Next thing is figure out which cars you want. Like I said, if it's oversaturated, you don't want those cars. Figure out how you're gonna get those cars, if you're going to pay for them cash, if you're gonna finance them, or if you're going to basically kind of do like a car arbitrage or whatever, however you call that, basically co-hosting. So if you can do the co-hosting thing, it's great. You can actually take a portion of earnings from another car, or do family members if they have an extra car, then try it out with this. Definitely try it out. Start small and take your time. Don't just rush into this and go in and buy a bunch of cars right off the bat, just to find out you don't even like it, right? Start off super cheap. You don't need an LLC. You don't need anything like that. Just start off with the basics just to get rolling to see if you even like it. As always, I make sure that I tell you guys, do not over leverage yourselves, because in a downturn market, the last thing you want is a whole bunch of notes on cars that you can't afford. That's why I am a big fan of these cash cars. Like my Mazda 6 makes just as much as a 2020 Kia Forte. The Mazda 6 costs $6 grand, right? So it just makes sense. And it is a little bit older car. I haven't had to do a lot of work to it. Right off the bat, I did have to do a few things just to make it a little bit cleaner. And you can check back in my previous videos as far as what the Mazda looks like and what the Forte looks like. You got a $6,000 car versus a $25,000, $30,000 car. And I'm getting the same daily rates on that $6,000 car as I do with the 2020 car. It all just kind of depends on what you're going for. The Kia Forte has a note, so now you got to take into consideration that, you know, $250 or $300, depending on whatever your car payment is for the month, versus if you were to buy something cash. And I know that's a huge debate, so we won't even get into that, because people are saying, oh, you can't make money renting, you know, lower end cars. Yes, you can. It's cash flow. It helps out with other things. But that's a whole nother story. Like I said, I like the cash cars. They do very well, and if downturn, you know that you're not over leveraged, right? If nothing else, you have an asset you can sell. The other thing that you're going to want to do is go through Turo's terms of service. Make sure you know these things front and back. The last thing you want to do is get caught in something sticky and not know that you were in the wrong the whole time. The other thing along with the terms of service is do not make up your own rules and put them on the platform, right? All this stuff saying you can't cross state lines, you can't do this, you can't do that. Read Turo's terms of service. Make sure you are down to the T on this even with pre-trip photos, post-trip photos, check-in IDs, all this stuff is super important. I mean, it's the heartbeat of how all this works, minus the cars. But so many people neglect to do this, and then all of a sudden you see them, checking out forums. Hey, how do I get rid of this renter? How do I decline this? How do I do that? How come I got this? Just read those terms of service. Trust me. So now next thing you're gonna do, you're gonna get your car. You're gonna figure out, you've figured out which one you want for your market. Now you got the car. Now go out and take a bunch of pictures of this thing, right? 10 to 15 pictures. This is your Tinder profile for your car. What's gonna make me want to rent your car over their car? So make sure you got the descriptions, you got some dope pictures of your car. I mean, take it out to the local attractions, what you got. So if you got Sedona, or you got the lake, or you got, whatever. You're down in LA and you just wanted it next to the Hollywood sign. I don't know. Just get those pictures that are really going to pop and really going to stand out, so that way it makes people want to rent your cars. Now, a few little tricks right off the bat. If you want to get those reviews and get your car out rented even more, have that price just a little bit lower, right? You're going to work your way up to that 100% mark. That's just so you can get trips, reviews. I mean, you're going to go over the top, make sure that everything is on point for each one of these trips. And then once you get a few under your belt, then you can start doing those premium prices. But really try and keep it competitive. Last thing you want to do is undercut a bunch of people to where they don't even want to, you're screwing everybody up, right? You're cutting my prices, you're cutting your prices, and pretty soon none of us are making money. So really be careful with that, but this will help you get your reviews. Like I said, don't stick on that, just slowly work your way up to that 100% price point. So now that you got everything all going, you have your insurance. That's the other thing. Check your insurance, figure out which one you want. You don't have to have anything special with this. A lot of personal insurance, you do have to have insurance while this is off the platform. So you got to be really careful with insurances. Allstate Travelers Insurance, they will actually help you out with this. If they know that you're a Turo host, they're going to want to see that you got some bookings, that you're actually an all-star, you're a reputable host, and they will actually help you out with a fleet discounted insurance. They were only in a few states. I will have to double check, but they are starting to try and grow to where you can actually get insurance through them with all your cars. But regardless, you are going to have insurance through your personal carrier. That is not going to be covering everything while it's on a rental. It's covered through the insurance on Turo, but you do have to have it while it's not being rented. So figure out which plan you're going to go, the 60, 75, 80, 85, 90 plan. And these all cover your car. And this all just takes into consideration what portion of the earnings you're earning, and on top of that, what your deductible is going to be. So if you're at the 60 plan, Turo's making more money and you are on your own car, I wouldn't really recommend that. But you don't really have a deductible with that. You start working your way up, on the 80 plan, you got a $750 deductible on up to the 90 plan, right? So the deductible just goes higher and higher. So just keep that in consideration. So now that you got your listings, your trip photos, your insurance, all this stuff is set. Make sure your car is detailed, clean, and perfect, ready for this first trip. Now, when the first trip comes up, you're gonna be taking a bunch of pictures, right? I know Turo only says take the side, take the front, take the back, other side, and all that stuff, but realistically, I go through, there's another video on how I do all my pre-trip photos. I'm usually doing 100 to 120 pictures per car, and this gets everything from the wheels, windshield, side glass, anything that you can think of, front bumper, underneath the car, because let's face it, people scrape stuff, they run over stuff. So I get all of that stuff. I even get the key fob, so that way if something happens to the key fob, I can say, look, yeah, I got a picture right there, it was there. This helps protect you as well as the renter. Never really had anybody complain about how many pictures I take, but I take a bunch and make sure that everything is documented, because if it didn't happen on pictures, it didn't really happen, right? So now you go through and definitely, like I said, check that terms of service, so that way you can get your customer's ID, so that way you can get your renter's ID. You can't do this more than 24 hours before the trip, just like your pre-trip photos. So you got your pictures, all that stuff. Now the next thing you want to do is get your key inside this nice little lockbox, right? This is the one I use, and honestly it works great. And that's from the new cars. You have, the ability to do it from your phone. Whatever you got, just make sure you got your way to keep your car secure until it is actually time and the renter is actually there at your car. So there's multiple things that you can actually use to help the process with all this. Like I said, I use that lockbox. That works great. Just have the renter leave the key in there before and after the trip. And once everything's all done, the key's right there. I can come back, do my own thing. That's gonna be the biggest way to make this as passive as possible. Another thing you can actually use to help make this a little bit more passive is car sync, all the automated messages. Turo has theirs, not sure which one's gonna work better. I haven't used Turo's automated messages, honestly, but these are the things you got. So once everything's all done, car's on its way, let it do its thing and come back. Don't stress about it, don't check your GPS every 5 seconds. I know you guys are gonna wanna do this, right? It's so hard not to, but just let the car do its thing. Let it make its money for you. And then once everything's all done, you're gonna come back through and just repeat that same process as the check-in. You're gonna make sure the car's actually back, clean, decent condition, normal dirty wear and tear. If you're up in Colorado and you're up in the wintertime and it gets dirty, like, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to clean it. You can't charge the renter unless it's excessive inside the car type stuff. So once again, get all those post-trip pictures, get them uploaded to the platform within that 24-hour period, and get your car detailed for the next trip because it's coming soon, I promise. So that's pretty much the basics of it. Figure out your market, figure out your car, terms of service, list the car, rent the car, recheck in the car, and rinse and repeat. Hope this helped you guys out. I will definitely get some more videos out. Like I said, it has been super busy, but we will make sure that I got more videos out for you guys. As always, do everything down below. Y'all know what to do. We'll catch you on the next one. Later, y'all.